Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hibbard, and today I'm here with Dr. Keith Hall. He's the director of the Noel Strengths Academy at Azusa Pacific.
Yes.
Hi, Keith. Welcome.
Hey, Josh. It's good to be here.
Well, today we want to just dive in and talk about strengths. I'm interested in knowing if you could tell us a little bit about the research that supports this.
Yeah, so I think in higher education, we have this desire for our students, for our faculty and staff to be fully engaged. And so when you take a look at some of the recent research conducted by Tom Rath, Jim Harder, published in their book Well-Being, students, individuals tend to be 6 times more likely engaged in their work when they're applying their strengths on a day-to-day basis, 3 times as likely to report an excellent quality of life. And so we want that for our students. And so it makes sense for us to find ways to integrate a strengths development approach in the way we engage students.
What's the practicalness of knowing your strengths,
Yes.
not just in college, but in life and
Yeah.
work and these other settings?
Yeah, I love your question because it really bridges the gap between awareness and application. So how do students put their unique strengths constellation to work academically? So for students who have what we call like strategic thinking strengths, it's creating space and time to ruminate on concepts, to reflect on theory. Using that type of approach academically gives them an advantage. And so obviously that translates also to the workplace. So if I understand how I'm wired, I can also choose positions that are a good fit where I can apply my strengths on a day-to-day basis.
I like how you phrase this. It starts with understanding how you're wired internally.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then applying that
Yes.
to these different domains.
Yeah. Like it's impossible for you to fully develop and apply what you don't know you have. And so like an image that I like to use is the image of a toolbox. So in my garage, I have plenty of tools in my toolbox. I have no idea what they're called. And I don't know how to use them. And so I think what our appeal to members of our learning community is to first, hey, name these resources that you have in your toolbox, but then find ways to use them so that you're thriving over the course of your academic journey.
I love that metaphor. You could know the name of a hammer, you could know the name of a crescent wrench, but it's not enough. You have to know what it's used for.
So Josh, you're exactly right. There's a lot of research to support exactly what you're sharing, that focusing on strengths awareness by itself doesn't translate to results, and actually it can promote a fixed mindset. And so we want students to understand that they have this heightened sense of capacity that fosters this growth mindset, that intelligence isn't static, that with work ethic, development, and commitment to applying their strengths, they can be successful in any context.
Could you tell us a little bit more about some of the benefits that strengths affords students, especially
Sure.
academically, but also professionally?
Yeah, so there's some contemporary research that's being conducted by Dr. Lori Schreiner at Azusa Pacific that kind of highlights thriving outcomes. And so strengths development serves as a pathway to those outcomes. So when you think about engaged learning, students feeling alive, feeling engaged in the classroom, moved by the content. Academic determination is another outcome. So students taking responsibility for their learning, taking ownership of what they learn. And then there's also this idea of making connections. So I'm just not learning content, but I'm thinking of ways to apply it in my desired profession.
I don't know about you, Keith, but growing up I was taught to focus on my weaknesses
Sure.
and to develop those.
Right.
You're telling me something different about the strengths perspective. I want to be clear about this. Are you suggesting that we don't focus on our weaknesses at all?
I am not suggesting that.
Okay.
I think a person should be aware of their weaknesses, manage those weaknesses, but to achieve excellent results, it's highly unlikely that that's going to happen from a space of weakness because it's tied to our affective domain. Our energy is low when we play to our weaknesses. So what we're suggesting is for a person to identify their strengths, build on their strengths, and then find ways to employ their strengths to address areas of weakness.
Every time I get together with you, Keith, I am motivated, I'm excited to begin working on applying my strengths in my own life, but also pulling them out of the people I work with so that they have the opportunity to live and work and breathe in their strengths.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the appeal that we extend to our learning community. Now that you have names for your internal resources, your strengths, find ways to integrate them into your day-to-day learning, your relationships, and even have some vision and think about ways that you're going to apply your strengths down the road in your desired profession. And so, yeah, this is an exciting time for our students.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all for joining us. We'll see you soon.